Alright, thanks for stopping into my lesson on New Eyes by Nicklas Sahl. Somebody requested that I do a lesson on this song, and I'm really glad they did because it's a really cool song. And there's a video of him kind of playing it in like a warehouse courtyard, probably somewhere in Europe or something. It looks really cool, and then a drummer comes out and starts playing along with him. So you should go check that video out. Anyway, in this lesson, you need a capo for your 5th fret and a little bit of patience. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of explain things well enough for you to get a grasp on it all. And don't be afraid to simplify parts that you can't get. Also check the description for some links. I've got some great resources to help you learn how to play guitar. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So as you've got your capo on the 5th fret, the song starts with a D chord. So you're going to put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the G, your middle finger, 2nd fret of the high E, and your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B. So that's a D chord there. And I like to use my index finger, my middle finger, and my ring finger to pluck the G, the B, and the high E string. So the way to start this out is you're actually going to hammer on with your index finger and your middle finger. So your ring finger stays down and your index finger and your middle finger hammer down. So you're just plucking G, B, and high E in an 8th note pattern. So one more time, a little slower. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. You've got, so you'll hammer both the index and the middle, but then you'll let off with your middle finger. So all that together. Hear that? So and then you'll hammer just the index finger by itself. So all that together. One more time, a little slower. Okay, now if you go and look at the video of him sort of playing in the courtyard, what he's doing is he's walking the bass notes with his thumb. So what I was just playing was more what you'll hear like, on Spotify, iTunes. If you go listen to the studio version, you'll hear that chord without any bass notes. But if you go and you watch the video, like I said, of him like in the courtyard, playing, he's kind of walking the bass line with his thumb. So he's doing more of a so it's kind of a little more complicated, hence the reason why I'm kind of going with the studio version on that, just to kind of keep things simplified. So moving on to the verse part of the song, what you're going to need to do is start walking some bass notes with your thumb. So it's still using that D shape, but this time we're kind of focusing just on the index finger on 2nd fret of the G, ring finger on 3rd fret of the B. So your index finger will pluck the B, your index finger will pluck the G, middle finger will pluck the B, and your thumb will pluck the bass notes. So here's the verse. So what you've got is, again, sticking to that sort of 8th note pattern with your index finger and your middle finger this time, with those hammer-ons. So you're going to start on the D with your thumb, and you're going to go to A. Now you got to reach with your middle finger, grab that third fret of the low E, Okay, so this gets us into the pre-chorus, I suppose you could say. So coming out of that verse, you're going to walk with your thumb to second fret of the low E, still leaving your index finger down. So what you're doing there is leaving the G open now. So your ring finger stays down, but the G's open, and you're on a low E string now. So again, coming out of that verse into the pre-chorus, you've got up to the A string. So when you go to that A, you add your index finger back to second fret of the G. So that walk up. So now we're into the chorus. So let's take a look at that. So the chorus starts on, again, you're still kind of holding true to that D shape. So your index finger second fret of the G, ring finger third fret of the B. So see kind of what happened there is you let off when you get to that E again. So there's kind of a theme going on. When you get to that E, you kind of you get that open G happening in there again. So okay. Now the second part of the chorus, your index finger is going to jump here to the second fret of the A. Now your middle finger is going to have to take over on second fret of the G. So you went second fret of A, open E on the bass walking. Then it'll repeat that. And then it'll go to end the chorus. So that full chorus again one more time. Here we go. Alright, so you might want to rewind some of those parts to get a better idea how to play them. So what I'm going to do to explain the melody is just kind of play it kind of slow and just kind of show you up close just sort of the nuances in the different sections here. So the first section, your index finger will start on the second fret of the G, and then you're going to do a pull-off combination on the D string. right? So you kind of end up on the A string there. So one more time, all that. And it's going to kind of, I think it just repeats that same exact phrase for the second part of the verse. All right, now it's going to switch up a little bit for the pre-chorus. So that part's a little funky. So one more time. All right. So all that. Now that gets us into the chorus. So a little slower. Second fret of G. That's the second part. Third part's pretty much the same as the first part. Then the last part. So all that from the top.